they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Amadaya Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Amadaya Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get into it. We the people. Most hated bronze flat power god. Leon is here. Okay. G from the land. Starseed Oracle. Emperor Rex. All right. Claudette. So shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Nessa G, DJ Big Six. All right, we the people. So with that all being said, hey, Desmond. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. I see you, Deronda. Peaceful Living. Okay, so let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Right, so with that all being said, don't forget, that you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's talk about it because I find it all so interesting that even the troops are complaining, okay, allegedly. All right, I haven't literally heard them complaining, but there has been talk that even the troops are complaining like this is, there's no strategy. They don't even understand why they're there. And it looks like we're losing to the point that Trump is now lying. And he really wants to wave the white flag of surrender. He really wants to have a ceasefire. But he also, at the same time, wants to keep up the ruse as if the U.S. is winning. So he's talking about they had these talks with Iran, and so now he's going to postpone the strikes on the power plants. Remember the ones he was talking about yesterday when he was threatening Iran, saying that if they didn't let go and free up the Strait of Hormuz, that he was going to come in there and have them to hit the power plants and put them in darkness, take out their electricity. Now, that's a whole war crime, right? And see, here's the thing. The fact that Pete Keg's breath already said, forget the rules. Who's worried about rules of engagement? He was letting us know right there that he's willing to commit war crimes. And in fact, they already had done so. It wasn't actually a war crime, but they actually were wrong for blowing up those people in the boats. They weren't at war with those people, but nonetheless, that could be considered a war crime as well. And then, but now Trump wants to pull out. So he's making up this story saying that he's had some talks with them, some productive talks. How do we know that that's a lie? It's because Iran said they haven't had any talks with him. And we know they haven't had any talks with him because they've been telling us repetitively they don't want to talk to him. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want a ceasefire. They don't want to hear anything that he has to say because they don't trust him. Okay? Now let's get into what the troops are saying first. This is all nefarious. I'm going to share my screen. Don't forget to hit the like button, beloveds. Like and share. That's one way to help the channel for free. Thank you in advance. Okay, so some describe a lack of planning. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start at the top. Okay, so this is from Clash Report. U.S. troops in the Iran conflict are increasingly uneasy, citing stress, safety concerns, and unclear goals. Some describe a lack of planning, with one official warning a ground operation would be an absolute disaster. Okay, didn't I tell you all that? You heard it here first. It would absolutely be a disaster. That's how you know Trump has no sense. And who's advising him of such ignorance? Many troops are questioning the purpose of the war, with some saying, we do not want to die for Israel. We don't want to be political pawns. Okay, and rightfully so. And they shouldn't have to. I'm just glad that the truth's coming out because all of these lies coming out by Trump's administration are just so annoying. But listen to this. This report just came in from the Daily Mail. It said Trump lashes out at reporters' crazy question on putting U.S. troops in Iran as he issues chilling warning. We'll keep bombing. So he lashed out at the reporter's question. They say thousands of Marines were deployed over the last week to the Middle East. At least 2 Marine units comprised of over 4,000 Marines aboard the USS Tripoli and USS Boxer. And they're traveling toward Iran. Now, pressed on whether U.S. troops will soon have boots on the ground in Iran on Monday morning before boarding Air Force One, the president recoiled and slammed the reporter, saying it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego last week, at the end of the week. Why are they headed there now? I mean, that sounds like a fair question. Now, why would someone asking that send him into a rage? Well, anyway, goes on to say Trump immediately shot back. Okay. He said, well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position and I asked you that question, do you really believe I'd give you that? It's a crazy question. Ha! No, he's the one that's crazy. The president has repeatedly refused to answer media questions about upcoming military actions in the war, saying that if he did, the operational security of the plans would be compromised. By simply telling them why you're sending extra troops on the ground? He also shared that the U.S. has begun negotiations with Iranian officials to end the war, a claim that the Islamic Republic has refuted. They said they have rejected his 48-hour demand. Remember yesterday when he said he was giving them all of 48 hours to get away from the Strait of Hormuz to go ahead and open it back up or else? Talking all that tough talking. Here we are 48 hours later and nothing. Now he's talking about postponing it because they've had these talks. Please. And so if those talks go sideways and Iran doesn't cooperate, this is Trump. He says U.S. forces will keep bombing our little hearts out. Just the way he speaks of this thing, it sounds like he doesn't even take it serious. Trump's just a whole fool. Now, the president said Monday morning in a social media post that the U.S. will hold off on striking Iranian energy infrastructure as the two countries look to strike a deal. The only one looking to strike a deal is him. Within the hour, Iranian officials swafted down those claims, saying the president and his team were not in contact with their officials. Later in the morning, Trump doubled down, said, I didn't call, they called. They want to make a deal. Such a liar. Okay, and the only ones that believe this stupid mess are his minions. Okay, his cult followers. Special envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were in talks with Iranian officials on Sunday. Okay, according to the president. He said, now here's the thing. He says they called, but then he says Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were in talks with them. So who called who? Why would they have called Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff? Okay, see, there's the lie right there. He says, we have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. First of all, here's the thing. In a time of war such as this, if they were going to talk to anybody, if there were going to be talks, it would be up to the president. Don't you think that it would make more sense for the president to be speaking to them? This is how you know Trump's such a liar, because every time he speaks on Iran, it's always Witkoff and Jared. Okay, just like he said, they were the first ones who went to negotiate before the strikes. But at the end of the day, when we see Trump, he's talking to everybody else, like the prime minister of Japan, like Zelensky. So, and Putin, whoever else, he's talking to them directly. So when it comes to Iran, he's telling us Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That's because nobody's talking to Iran. Iran is not accepting calls from the White House, okay, or any of his envoys. So anyway, goes on to say, we have had very, very strong talks, okay, and we'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. They want, I would say, they went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. Just a bunch of nothing, just like Steve Kate's breath. The U.S. is demanding in the negotiations that Iran give up its ambitions to create a nuclear weapon. We want to see no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Now, low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. I think we're going to get that. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what he's doing here. Let me tell you the move here. First of all, he's trying to make it look as though they're bending and bowing down to him. If you remember, before this whole thing started, they were already negotiating. They were already at the table to say they would be willing to not have nuclear weapons. Do you all remember that? That was what they were likely going to tell him when they were negotiating. That's what they later said the talks were supposed to be about. So for him to come out now in the 11th hour when he's getting the pants beat off of him and getting our soldiers killed, okay, he wants to keep saying obliterated when we know that's really what's happening to the U.S., okay, mind you. But now he wants to come out and act like, well, if they do this, then, then it's a wrap. We'll go ahead and pull out. They already were willing to do that, stupid. Okay, he's such a pathological liar. They were already willing to give that at the table before he doubled back around through the back door and surprised attacked them. Okay, at the behest of Bibi. Do y'all hear this? Okay, nice MCK said, is he playing 5D chess, Queen? Honey, Trump is playing checkers. He is playing checkers, honey. That's what he's doing. RN says Trump wrote the bestseller, The Art of the Deal. Yeah, he wrote it, but he had a ghostwriter. You know, Trump didn't literally write it. He had a ghostwriter and a whole lot of help. Okay, he had a whole lot of help, beloved. And also, speaking of that, the bottom line is Trump has bankrupted every business that he's ever had. He even bankrupted a casino. How do you do that? I thought the House always wins. Now he bankrupted all of his businesses and a casino, and now he's bankrupted the United States. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's not helping us at all. He's committed nothing but chaos. Okay, nothing but a bunch of chaos, price hikes, and everything else to cause people to struggle. Please pay attention. So that's what he's now saying. Okay. And he said, I think we're going to get it. You were already going to get it before the war, you idiot. You didn't even need to take anybody through all of this. The president then added that Iran had agreed not to have nuclear weapons anymore. They already agreed that before the war. This is amazing. This fool is trying to use something they already agreed to before the war to make it a reason as to how he's winning the war and making them concede. However, the administration has yet to get in contact with the country's new Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the former leader who was reportedly injured in U.S. strikes. I said, we have not heard from the son. You haven't heard from any of them, you idiots. Okay, do y'all hear it? Anyway, here's how you know it's all going so bad. Please listen to this video, and this is not AI. At least it doesn't seem to be. This looks like the real deal, and I want y'all to listen to what Satan-yahu is doing. Sounds like he's begging like a dog, if you ask me, trying to give all of these excuses and sad songs and stories with the world's smallest violin playing in the background to the same man who gave the order to do all those wicked, nefarious things over there in the Gaza Strip. Okay, now he wants to cry foul. Okay, now he wants to play the victim. Now, this is how you know it's going bad, and they done effed around and found out when the devils are playing the victims. I thought they were talking tough just days ago. But now Satan-yahu is begging for the same thing Trump begged like a dog for just days ago. And that is what? Help. He's begging for help. Okay, this is how you know they're both down bad. Two of them. Bibi's people and the U.S. could not defeat Iran. They just couldn't do it. Isn't it a sad song to sing?
They did is they fired an intercontinental ballistic missiles 4,000 kilometers right into Diego Garcia, the American-British base. They can reach now with these ballistic missiles everywhere in Europe, almost everywhere in Europe. I've been warning that for years. The fourth thing that they did is that they shut down the important maritime strait of Hormuz, trying to blackmail the world with oil terror blackmail.
You mean like the same kind of blackmail you did with the Mossad affiliated Jeffrey Epstein, gathering dirt on everybody, all the politicians over here, allegedly? He's the one, he's a fine one to talk about blackmail, but let's let him cook because he's begging real hard. And pay attention to how he tries to fearmonger them, okay, trying to make them feel obligated to help him with his low down, dirty self. Too bad the pictures of him lying in the rubble deceased were not real. Okay, but pay attention to how he said they've got the capabilities that can reach all the way to Europe. And I've been warning you of that for years. No, you've been lying for years, devil. You've been lying since 96, saying they were going to come with nuclear bombs. Meanwhile, not wanting to be transparent about his nuclear capabilities because, hey, it's all right for him and his people to have nuclear capabilities, but nobody else. And certainly not Iran, the enemy of America. I think he's the enemy of America. If he really loved America and was really an ally, would he want us to have economic decline? Would he want our soldiers to die for a cause that he brought about, that we should have had nothing to do with? If he really cared about America, would he keep dragging us into their foolish, nefarious BS? Okay, that's all trumped up, pun intended. Please pay attention.
Four things that they're doing in 48 hours. And I asked the leaders of the world, the leaders of the free world, the leaders of the moderate states, what more are you waiting for?
They're waiting for you to keep fighting the war by yourself. You and the nefarious United States, because y'all are the ones who started it. It's funny how they started this whole thing, and now when Iran starts kicking their butts like I knew they would, and giving them the business, the work, and the smoke all simultaneously, now he wants to cry foul. The man who has committed so many war crimes, it makes no sense. The man responsible for tens of thousands lost lives because he's a devil. He's a satanic demon from the pits of hell. The same man who said that Jesus himself was no match for Genghis Khan, the man who said that evil always triumphs over good. This is who's asking for help. I hope no one helps him at all. Okay, I wouldn't spit on him if he was on fire.
President Trump has correctly said that Israel, the United States and Israel in this great partnership, we're fighting the battle not only for ourselves, but for all of you. And he has to say,
that's the biggest load of BS I ever heard. Now he wants everyone to think that he and Trump, devils number one and number two, Satan and Lucifer, are supposed to be fighting for the good cause, the common cause, for the plight of all men, when they're the ones destroying the world from the inside out, when all of the chaos in the Middle East has been started by that man right there. That's the cause of all the chaos and pandemonium in the Middle East. For decades, it's been him. It's always been him. But he wants to call other people terrorists. We've all seen his handiwork, okay? We've all seen this man's handiwork, and we all now know what type of mindset he has. There's nothing holy about this man. He's a wicked, demonic, satanic beast. Think about what he said about Jesus. That should tell us everything we need to know. Okay, him and Trump are single-handedly destroying the whole world. Okay, in real time.
simple question, where are you? And it's time to heed President Trump's call, his leadership, and his vision, not merely for our sake, but for your sake.
Ha! Oh, so now we all need to listen to the devil and Satan so that we can all live and survive. Like, miss me with it. Do y'all hear this man? And how you know he's just a lying dog is the fact that he's sitting here pretending that anyone with sense should listen to Trump or follow his leadership. Okay? Yeah, Trump would lead us all right over the edge of a cliff. Okay? And so with this devil here.
The third thing they did is they fired an intercontinental ballistic missiles 4,000 kilometers right into Diego.
Boo effing who? Get your arse out of here. Okay? I'm sorry. Does anybody have an ounce of sympathy for this man and his plight? Okay? Because I just tested positive for no sympathy. All right? I just tested positive for it. Make it all make sense. Okay? Anywho, with that all being said, let me read some of the comments. Okay, Jay McClin said he's demonic. Yes, he absolutely is. Okay. Bronze Flat Power God said nope. Nice M10K said stage 4, no sympathy. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, Sunset Night says Satan and Lucifer. I am so done. Okay, Denise said Trump said he's not going to heaven. Looks like people are gladly following him straight to hell. Okay, make it all make sense. All right, anyway, let's get back into it because I absolutely cannot with these devils out here desperate and begging for help. And then playing the victims. They're out here using hypersonic missiles. They're out here sending them, shut your ass up. What were you using over there on the Palestinians, huh? Let's talk about that, shall we? Okay, let's talk about that. Now here, look at them scrambling. Let me go to this clip of them scrambling, trying to get the H out of Tel Aviv, honey, with a quickness. Okay? I could have been gone from Tel Aviv as soon as they said something about they were going to attack Iran, honey, because I would have been there. We'll follow SATANyahu into the pits of hell. Okay? Brazil has declared its support for the resolution to be tabled at the United Nations General Assembly on the 25th of March of this year, which seeks to formally recognize the transatlantic slave trade and the enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. Okay, shout out to Brazil.
This is the objective of the ministerial meeting that Brazil will organize in April 9. Brazil, Latin American, and the Caribbean work together to Africa in different multilateral initiatives. For more than 10 years, from 2025, in a declaration of the human rights, Brazil supports the resolution of the African Group of the General Assembly that declares that the human trafficking, African human trafficking, is one of the worst human atrocities of the humanity. Without the cohesion acting of the South-South cooperation, we risk of crystallizing a scenario of paralysis that goes against the...
Okay, I'm done with that. Now we get the gist of it, okay? We get the gist of it. He's reading a little slow. But now with that all being said, listen, I have to tell you all about this. Hold on. I got to tell y'all this first. I loved it. Listen to this. Ibrahim Traore, shout out to him because I absolutely love that African leader, okay? But listen to this, okay? So according to sources, he has banned Mr. Elon Musk, okay? He's banned him, and all of his businesses, companies, and all of that linked to Elon Musk are banned in Burkina Faso. This is after Elon Musk insulated South African. Traore said, here's what he said: tit for tat is a fair game. You cannot insult any African country and expect your businesses to continue in Burkina Faso. This is a new Africa, not the one that you are used to. Love it. Do y'all hear this? Times are a-changing, okay, for the wanton supremacists. Y'all not going to be running ish all over this world, okay, and you're definitely not going to be running these African countries that you're used to. They're kicking y'all's asses up out of there. Shout out to Ibrahim Traore again, honey. This man is standing 10 toes down and on business. Let me just read it again. Yeah, I love it. He said, this is not the same Africa you are used to. Tit for tat is a fair game. You cannot insult any African country, not just Burkina Faso. You can't insult any of them, okay? And expect your businesses to continue in Burkina Faso. This is a new Africa, not the one you're used to. All right, say it again for the people in the back. Okay, it's a new day. It's a new dawn and a new day. All right, please pay attention for the whole lot. There's more. Because guess what Putin had to say about all of the shenanigans? I want y'all to pay attention. Shout out to Putin for this one. They say Russia just told Bibi and them that use a nuke if you want to, and we will drop one on you. Putin's message to Satan-yahu, per Colonel McGregor. He said, use one nuclear weapon in the Middle East, and then Russia drops one on Bibi's folks. Well, I find it all interesting. Now, I haven't substantiated this, but that's what has been said. Now, another thing I think you all should know, because I didn't even know about this, right? But I'm not surprised. So there's been claims that some of these women These European women have been going over there to these African countries and taking advantage of these little young men over there and boys, young men and boys. Now, remember a few years ago, I did a story about the Western men going over there and doing the same to the young boys and girls over there, okay, and grown men, because they know that the Gambia is very poor. People can barely have shoes and it's hard to get food and all that stuff. So they go up there and they take advantage of these people. Okay, now, with that all being said, listen to this. I just thought it was all just a hot mess. Okay, let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now we'll get back on track about the war, but I just want to cover this while I'm on my X account. And also, Pensilola says, read them down, Queen. Thank you, beloved, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Nice M10K says, be nice, Queen. You just might hurt his feelings. Honey, you know I don't care about his feelings, beloved. Okay? Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, check this out. It's always the usual suspects. And you know, here's the thing.
Did you know
this should not be a surprise, because we hear all the time about these same types of women, you know, doing things with their school teachers specifically. We hear all the time about them messing around with their students, 13 and 14 years old, even getting impregnated by them. Okay? Absolutely disgusting, predatorial, okay, behavior, just like the men. Just like the men.
Did you know that there are women from all over, I'm talking America, Europe, and Canada, who visit impoverished countries and areas to exploit young men? Take a look at this next clip from a documentary I discovered.
Now, since this is a documentary, I'm going to put an overlay on it. Hold on, beloveds.
Anna is Italian. She's 30.
And I'm going to skip this part. Hold on.
That young man just turned 18, and who knows if they met prior to him turning 18. And that woman is in her mid-30s.
Everything seems to be possible here. The barriers.
Now I want you all to pay attention. They're making a documentary about this like it's a good thing. They're really, what they're doing is they're encouraging more of these type of people to go there and exploit these young men. That's the purpose of them making a documentary, it seems to me. Now, I haven't seen the documentary, but why are you all publicizing this and nobody's been, you know, they're not demonizing these folk? But let's continue. Now, I've muted it when they're talking on the documentary so I don't get any copyright issues. But you can see what's going on here. Look at this. Okay, I'm sorry. Make it all make sense.
Men and boys are desperate for money, so they take advantage of that. This is sickening. These are people who do awful things, then go back to their family and pretend like nothing has happened. This should absolutely concern you.
Okay, the same kind of stuff they did during slavery. The same kind of things they did during slavery. Okay, please pay attention. I find it all so nefarious. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. And I want to talk to you all about this new bill. Okay, this bill, HR 8445. Okay, we're going to get into that too. But let's go to this clip from MS Now. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
In those small
So
areas.
we
have breaking news. Let's stop. And I just want to, before we go to this, I want to just confirm. That is a Truth Social post. Mm-hmm. Alex, can you check the Truth Social feed? We're going to be going from this to John Lemire. Just got a post from Donald Trump on Truth Social. Significant. Read it.
Yeah, I am reading it now. It is confirmed. It's on Truth Social. It's also been amplified by White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt. So the president, just a few moments ago, in all caps, writes, "I'm pleased to report the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, Joe, that's the extent of it. Basically, what this means is that ultimatum,
right,
the 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or we will hit Iran's energy infrastructure. That was at 7:44 p.m. tonight. That would be 48 hours. So he is pushing that deadline. This is not suggesting that all attacks will stop,
right,
but it is suggesting that those on energy infrastructure and power plants will be suspended for at least 5 days based on conversations. Apparently, the president saying some progress this weekend.
So let's bring in right now the co-host of the Rest is Politics podcast of BBC's Caddy K and staff writer at The Atlantic, Frank Foer. We've been talking this morning, Caddy, about how an attack on these power plants would be a major escalation. The president this morning briefly talking about the positive talks that have been going on between Iran and themselves. And there will obviously be people that will be drawing conclusions. They'll say, oh, Trump backed down or whatever. But I suspect it's far more likely that talks have been going on. It's also far more likely that they decided not to take this step forward. I'm curious, though, your reaction to the president's statement and also the sense of relief, not only across the region, but across the world, that this war didn't just take yet another escalatory step.
Joe, this is probably one of those moments where we need the kind of stock market tickers from around the world, because as we woke up this morning, world markets, obviously a few hours ahead of us, had already factored in this deadline and had started to tumble. So I imagine that the White House is watching that too. We know they're sensitive to markets around the world. We know they're sensitive to oil prices as well. And the idea that there was this deadline of about 7 p.m. this evening where this could rapidly escalate, I mean, it's very much in Trump's MO to, you must do this in this time frame or I will do this one. But I think in this case, there were kind of cooler heads that prevailed to be able to say, look, this 40-hour, 8-hour deadline that you have just set yourself is not helpful to you. It doesn't give America the room it needs if it's going to escalate in a way that is measured and thoughtful, as opposed to escalating in a way that could cause huge amounts of damage in the region and further damage to the oil prices. So it seems that they've looked at the brink, they've pulled back from the brink. But I do think what you just said, Joe, is important. I'm reading this Truth Social post now. This is only military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period. So we would assume that other strikes would continue in a way.
Right.
We're back to the status quo ante. We're back to where we were on Friday or Saturday.
Right. And that way, as David Ignatius discussed last hour, allows the president to continue down the path that many of his military leaders are saying he should continue down. Or not saying he should continue down, but are suggesting that if the attacks continue for another 3 weeks, another 4 weeks, they can hit the significant military targets they need to hit. So the president has his off-ramp, can declare war, and it doesn't escalate. You had said before and reported earlier, John, that many in the White House have said, don't set deadlines. Bad thing to do here with Iran. Don't set deadlines. The president, though, again, the president does what the president wants to do. And we certainly saw it with Venezuela. And we're seeing it here. He does what he wants to do, oftentimes to gain leverage in negotiations where we don't know what's happening next. I'm sure the Iranians are going to come out with a statement saying, no, we haven't had productive talks. We'll have to wait for the history books to come out to see what actually is happening. But that said, this is a step back from the brink, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly would appear that way. You know, we'll have to see, do some reporting as to what sort of talks perhaps were held over the weekend. But you're right. I mean, the Trump aides from the beginning of this conflict said, don't box yourself in. Don't set up some sort of deadline.
He says the deadline that was set the other day was done out of frustration. The president's unhappy. He's always unhappy. Who cares? It wasn't done out of frustration. It was done because he's trying to act like he's big and bad and like he's just, what Trump is doing here is trying to put up this persona or put out this narrative that, oh, I'm going in and I'm going to tell them and this is what I'm going to tell them and this is what they're going to do. That's all it is. And now that they rejected his demand, his threat, you know, they gave him a warning, but rather than him being honest about it, he wants to make it look like, well, you know, we're going to just hold off because they are talking nice. They called us and here's what they're saying. But they didn't call you, Trump. You're trying to get in touch with them and they're not having any of it. They don't want anything to do with them. And they're not going to back down. They're not going to fold it. They're not going to change their minds. Okay. Trump might as well just get over it. And only idiots are believing any of the lies. Okay. But hold on. Let's go to this clip. Let's go to this clip because this says one of Bibi's soldiers claims the number of deaths exceeds 6,500 soldiers in the attack carried out by Iran, okay, in Tel Aviv. Now, I can't substantiate this, but he's over there. It looks like he's actually there.
They are doing, Bibi, they are killing our people in the dark. 16,500 murdered. 6,000 they are doing.
Y'all heard him. But listen to this.
So this video is specifically for our active duty troops. Allegedly, according to the video I'm going to let you guys watch, the 82nd Airborne has received their deployment papers. So going boots on the ground is no longer off the table. I want to let this video play, but please stick around after because I got a few words of advice for you.
I want you all to pay attention because if this is true, okay, I can't substantiate this. This guy is talking about this. You know, I tried to look into it, but I can't confirm it. Now, if this is true, this is definitely not smart on Trump's behalf. But let's continue.
Hey, everybody, I'm Rick Sanchez. It's a little late on this side of the world, but I want to just catch you up on some information. Some sources are now reporting that members of the 82nd Airborne are saying that they've gotten their deployment papers. Members of the 82nd Airborne, one of the most elite units in special forces of the United States, as we expected. We did this story the other day. Stanislav Krapivnik has shared with me some information about this today. He says he's got some sources that are confirming it as well, that the 82nd Airborne has gotten some notification that they're going to be deployed to Iran. Obviously, that's very important information.
Okay, I just confirmed it. Here's what it says. The 82nd Airborne Division is not confirmed to be in Iran, but rather preparing for potential deployment to the Middle East. Okay, why would they be going to the Middle East other than Iran? Please pay attention. The Pentagon is organizing a potential ground operation, including deploying elite soldiers as part of rapid response efforts amid rising tensions. Okay, no troops are currently reported on the ground inside of Iran, but they say they're getting them ready. Deployment status says the 82nd Airborne Division is preparing for deployment to the Middle East, and this is according to CBS News and reports highlighted by Defense Security Asia. Okay, so let's keep going.
If it goes in line with the boots on the ground conversations that we've been having. As you know from my reporting, that would be a very difficult assignment. Only because there's very little terrain. It's very difficult to get into that area, and they're basically going to be, as Stas told me the night when you saw us doing the story together, sitting ducks in many ways, and there's just not that many of them. They're not enough troops to be able to make a difference. So we're following this, but at the same time, and here's the conflicting part of it. All the reports this morning seem to indicate, in fact, let me go to my notes because I've been working on this since this morning. All the reports seem to indicate that Mr. Trump has been reaching out to the Iranians and essentially letting them know And he's been saying it. It's not even anything that's hidden. In fact, if you listen to his latest Truth Social posts, he basically is saying that he is going to be interested in coming up with some kind of agreement, some kind of some way of being able to negotiate this war to an end, which obviously is the converse of what the Iranians are saying. So Trump seems to want to negotiate. Trump wants to talk. The Iranians are saying, we don't want to negotiate. We don't want to talk. We don't trust you. And for us, it's full steam ahead. So it's being presented as, in the West, as, well, Trump is finally ready to sit down and end this thing. Well, it's not his call.
It isn't his call. If you all remember, weeks ago, the foreign minister, Abbas Arakchi, basically said this war will be over when Iran says it's over. Okay? Trump's not calling the shots. So who's really winning here, folks? Okay, I'm sorry. We already know who's winning, because this is why Trump now wants to talk about sitting down and having peaceful discussions. He was talking so tough. I guess he thought he was going to intimidate and threaten and scare them, okay, and try to bully them like he did Venezuela, but it's not working. These are a whole nother type of people, okay? What do? Let me tell you, if I had to describe Iran in an analogy, let me just say, these are clearly people that just keep coming. You know how we watch scary movies like the killer is Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger, right? Okay, or Michael Myers. And then you stab them, shoot them, kick them, do all kinds of things, and you think they're dead, and you turn around and leave, and then you feel their breath on your back. That's Iran, okay, and the United States. They just keep coming. You can't get rid of them. Okay, they have really shown what kind of mistakes, okay, and consequences one faces when you underestimate your opponents, which clearly Bibi and Trump both did.
It's almost like if you and I are in a basketball game, you came to my house and said, Rick, let's go play basketball. And I said, okay, we're going to play basketball. And in the middle of the basketball game, you say, you know what? I don't want to play anymore. Well, that's called a forfeit. A forfeit is called a loss. A loss is called losing.
So I want to be very clear. If you guys haven't been paying attention, if you are an active duty serviceman and you have not been paying attention to the social media, if you haven't been following Ryan Maddow or Ethan Levins or RT Media, and you don't understand what's happening to our troops that are overseas, and you don't understand that you are literally getting sent into the meat grinder. The 82nd Airborne is our most elite airborne division. They're the ones who go in and kick ass and take names. They are going into unknown territory. It's not like we have all the geography. It's not like we know all of the routes under. It's not like we know all the tunnels. They are going to get massacred, absolutely massacred. I don't give a shit what advanced military equipment or technology that they are giving you. You'll be lucky if the plane even gets to drop you off or the ship even gets to drop you off before you are blown to smithereens. Iran is ready for this. They've been preparing for this for 47 fucking years. Resign. You have no honorable. There's nothing. Get your whole group of everybody in that airborne and say, no, you know what? This is where we draw the line. We are not going to go and slaughter innocent people. This isn't Iran. This isn't the one where they convinced us they were all terrorists. These are good, innocent people, and they are defending themselves. And you're going to go into a war zone and just slaughter innocent men? That would be you. Now imagine if China sent 1 million troops or 2 million or 5 million. They could send 10 million and invade us, and we would be sitting fucking ducks right now. We need you men to protect the homeland. We need you men back here for what's about to fucking happen to our country. We're going into very, very hard times right now, and we can't afford to lose any of you, and we don't want to. So do the right thing and fucking resign. God bless you guys. We out.
Heard it. They absolutely should resign as opposed to going in there. Okay, I absolutely would not. Because what's the game plan here? It seems like at this point, Trump's just throwing things at the wall. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's literally, in my opinion, throwing things at the wall. Okay, now I want you all to pay attention, because everybody is not going to, just follow unlawful commands or just go on fool's missions. Some people are just not going to do it. You have Joe Kent, who resigned, because I think he already knows what's coming ahead. Okay, the false flag, allegedly, I think he knows about that. But also, like he said, this was not a good idea in the first place. But now let's talk about HR 8445. Okay, let's talk about it because I find this all very interesting. So this is a bill where basically they're trying to encourage United States soldiers to fight alongside Bibi's people and to even fight in his army. Okay? Here's what it says. I'm going to give you like a summary of it. Hold on, beloveds. I'm going to read this whole thing. HR 8445 is a bill focused on American citizens serving in Bibi's military. Okay? It would give U.S. citizens who serve in the IDF, which is Bibi's army, some of the same legal and financial protections that U.S. troops get. Specifically, it extends protections under laws like Service Members Civil Relief Act, known as SCRA, Unified Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. Okay, and then these protections include things such as protection from eviction or foreclosure, caps on loan interest rates, job protection when they return from service. Okay, so I just want you all to pay attention. So it's the U.S. legal protections to American citizens serving in Bibi's army. That's what it's basically for. So they're trying to encourage them to fight in those people's army. Like, I just find this absolutely just crazy. Okay? It's just crazy. In my opinion. But maybe it's just me. What do y'all think? Okay? Passing a whole bill about this. I'm sorry, but there are other things for us to be concerned about, in my opinion. Now, let's continue. Because there's more BS where that came from. Let me see here. Okay, so let's go to this report from CNN where they say Iran rejects Trump's U.S. talks and basically says there was no communication directly or indirectly. I mean, we already know Trump is lying. Okay, that's all he does. How do we know Trump's lying? Well, his lips are moving. Okay, his lips are moving.
What we are now learning is that there seem to be some reports coming in where some media reports are suggesting that Iranian media is now saying that there were no direct or indirect talks with Trump at all. So this seems to be another claim coming in only from Washington, something that Tehran is not ready to confirm just yet. These are reports that are suggesting that Iran has so far not held any talks. But we also, on the other side, have seen that Iranian media has gone on to say that this is just surrender coming in from Donald Trump. This is him backing down because Iran has been striking and striking hard, giving out ultimatums in response to the kind of threats that have come in from the U.S. president. Arunima and Sanjay continue to be with us. Arunima, as far as these talks are concerned, there is no clarity because in this war, it is not just about warfare. It is not just about, we also saw this is about narratives and optics. Donald Trump may say that he is the one who decided to pause this entire war. Iran says no talks were held at all.
3 important points here. Iran, from the very beginning, of this war, right at the start, it lost a supreme leader. And then, in the middle of it, it lost, Ali, Lalijani as well. But since then, Iran has been consistently saying that it is not going to engage in any ceasefire talks with the U.S. or Israel. It has made it clear to Gulf countries as well, repeatedly invoking that we are all Muslim countries and we should all be together in this. And at the same time, going to Ahesh and attacking UAE and to some extent Riyadh as well. Now, the 3 important news points that are coming in here. First and foremost, like you said, the Iranian media says there was no direct or indirect talks with Trump. Iranian embassy in Kabul, they have said that after the Islamic Republic threatened to strike infrastructure in the entire Gulf, that is the reason Trump has bagged out, because the Gulf countries finally impressed upon Donald Trump, managed to convince him that this could have been a disaster. So that is the official word coming in from Iranian representative in Kabul that the real reason is talks are not going well, as Donald Trump claimed in a social media post, but because of that retaliation that Iran threatened and how the Gulf countries intervened. And the third important point that we are learning of, again, courtesy local media reports, the Arab News is reporting that Russia and Iran's foreign ministers are currently having a conversation. They're in talks after the United States ceasefire offer.
Right. In fact, that's the latest piece of information that is coming in, that the foreign ministers of Russia and Iran have held a conversation after Donald Trump's statement, trying to figure out what it is that was the context of this comment, because as far as Iran is concerned, they claim that no true direct and indirect talks have taken place. Russia is there to get a sense of what exactly has been happening, what it is that has truly transpired between the two sides. And as we see these comments coming in from both sides, Arunima, it's going to be interesting to see where this so-called ceasefire actually leads, because Donald Trump may say they are halting for 5 days. But if Iran says that there were no talks at all, then what to say they are going to hold this end of bargain?
Yes, we will have.
Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. Here's the short and long of it. Okay, Trump is in over his head. As Schumer said, Trump has tied himself in a triple knot. Okay, we're going to get to that momentarily. Here's the thing. It's not going the way he and Bibi foolishly thought that it would. Okay, they're letting everybody through the Strait of Hormuz except Trump and his allies. They're bombing the hell out of the U.S. and Bibi's people and anybody over there who's allowing them on their soil to attack. They've already shown their strength, and they haven't even gotten to the good part yet. Okay? Because they still haven't started going in their underground stash of weaponry. All right? So with that all being said, what's Trump going to do? He doesn't know. And also, Bibi's not listening to him. Okay, there's a rift in the waters because clearly Bibi has gone rogue, it seems. Hold on, next we're going to go to this clip from yesterday when they spoke with Professor Mohammed Marandi. Okay, we're going to go to that in just a second, but let's hear the rest of this.
To wait and see how Iran officially reacts, because I can't underline this enough. Just moments before that, social media posts by Donald Trump, Russell Klima, and Dubai heard explosions, which means Iran, even if there were talks, if Trump was going and putting this up on social media, I am presuming at least half an hour before that, if there were any talks going on, Iran would have known that Russia, U.S. is going to declare this. Just 10 minutes before that social media post about Dubai and the Russell camp getting attacked. So do you see that as Iran rejecting the olive branch from Trump altogether? And is there any merit, any media saying that, there was no conversation? Iran has never been speaking to Donald Trump in the U.S. Is there no negotiation happening? There is a lot of gray area, yet that we only know the United States version of the story. The Iranian version is equally important because Iran, in the way it has responded to this war, has shown that it is beyond U.S. and Israel's calculations. The U.S. and Israel, by their own admission, did not calculate this kind of attack on the Gulf. They definitely did not calculate Diego Garcia and the Indian Ocean being pulled into this conflict. So we will have to wait and see the official word coming in from the Iranian regime.
Absolutely. So this backing down, this escalation hint coming in from Donald Trump was just after he issued that 48-hour ultimatum. So what explains this backing down by Donald Trump? There are several reasons that could have led to this particular stance and this pause in war that Donald Trump really wants. One of them is that Saudi Arabia and the UAE want to avoid this war. They have told Washington in many terms that there needs to be some sort of ceasefire that comes into place. Iran has shown that it can hit back, and it can hit back hard. It has its missile arsenal. There are drones that are flying across, especially in the Gulf region. And Iran has shown that their proxies can act in a manner that was not anticipated. And the biggest one of them all is the chokehold that they have on the Strait of Hormuz. The oil, LNG, gas supplies that have been held as leveraged by Iran. That's something that seems to have forced Donald Trump's hand. In Washington, D.C., there are fears of a long, drawn-out war as well. Is this going to be a forever war that Donald Trump is dragging the United States into? That's something that perhaps was considered as well, which is why this decision to at least put this on a pause for 5 days has been taken by the U.S. president. Donald Trump has also not been able to afford a messy conflict. There are optics that he needs to ponder. Like I said earlier, his own majoritarian base seems extremely divided as far as this war with Iran goes. Midterm elections, a midterm referendum on Donald Trump is just around the corner. And can he afford to continue this war that no one within his own base did not ask for? Something that perhaps was weighing on his mind as well. Any Gulf disruption that triggers a price shock that directly hits the U.S. Americans. The average American will be feeling the heat. That's something that seems to be weighing on the mind of Donald Trump, which is why he wants a pause in this war.
He wants a pause on the war. Yeah, he wants to wave the white flag and surrender, but doesn't want anyone to realize that he's a loser. Okay, Pensilola says Trump had the nerve to ask for money to save Trump Towers. Illegal. Okay, I mean, I put nothing past the fool. Deborah says a spirit of confusion has been sent. They won't do right by y'all's people, my opinion. Trump is the spirit of confusion, beloved. Absolutely. Robert says Iran is really about following the Holy Quran. Iran is not like the other so-called Muslims countries who make Bibi's people and America a god besides Allah. Exactly. But hold on, because here's the thing too. This is another thing that's going on. So as of March of 2026, key Gulf Arab allies, because I told you all this the other day, allies, specifically Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are reevaluating their alliance on U.S. security guarantees due to concerns that American actions regarding Iran could trigger regional war. Frustration runs deep over perceived reckless U.S. policy with risk of reduced financial investment and altered military cooperation. Remember what I told you all days ago that some of these Arab nations are basically threatening to remove their investment deals with the U.S. Okay, investing in the U.S., and that really helps our economy significantly. Okay, and that's why yesterday we did the whole PowerPoint about stagflation. If you missed it, make sure you go and check that out from last night. Now, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, okay, these nations are questioning the value of the U.S. security guarantee, and alongside the UAE are reconsidering their security partnerships as they pay the price for U.S.-led conflicts. Following a rift with Saudi Arabia, the UAE has scaled back its military presence, terminating its counterterrorism mission in Yemen in a broad reassessment of its strategic alliances. Now, sources note deep dissatisfaction across Gulf Arab governments who believe U.S. decisions are made by a small, inexperienced circle, leaving partners exposed. Okay? A small, inexperienced circle. Would that be Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, no less? Because these are the two fools that Donald Trump says went and tried to make negotiations with Iran and then came back telling him to go ahead and start the war real quick. If you don't, they're going to nuke us or they're going to attack us first. He said. That's one of the lies he told him. Well, I don't know if it's a lie, but that's one of the things he said. Okay, please pay attention. Now, then they talk about political economic consequences. Gulf nations have threatened to reconsider the investment of billions of dollars in the U.S. It's going bad real quick, Trump. Okay, that's why he needs to get the hell up out of there, and he's trying to figure out how he can do it because it's all going bad. Okay. Now, while some Arab and Muslim countries initially expressed a willingness to work with the U.S. on a 2025 Gaza peace plan, frustrations have now grown over subsequent regional instabilities and perceived failure to address the security concerns of Gulf partners. So let me just say this. To sum it all up, Trump has effed around and found out, okay? Now, as I showed you all last week, the video of the Saudi Arabians dancing with Bibi's people, okay? Y'all remember that? Partying hardy and living it up. And I told y'all, they're all in on it, okay? Because Saudi Arabia, some of these Gulf countries, they already know that Iran is the top dog amongst all of them when it comes to military might and fighting power and all of that. So they don't want any smoke from them. So they would gladly back Bibi's people and the U.S. for attacking them. But now that they see how it's all going down, because none of them expected what's going on, they see how it's all going down. They see that now, Iran has come onto their turf, but they gave them a warning first. Stop letting the U.S. come on your soil and attack us, or else we're going to start attacking their infrastructure and assets on your soil. And that's what they've been doing. But the nice thing about them is they at least would tell them where they're going to strike and say, get the hell out of there because we're about to come. Okay, we're about to come and drop those things. Now, if you stayed there, that's on you. But the bottom line, they were only targeting military assets and infrastructure. So now these people want to back out because they don't want that smoke. And so they've gone to Trump and told him, look, we're going to have to take our investments elsewhere. And we're also not going to be just selling oil, by the US dollar. And so now Trump sees that the dollar is declining drastically. Prices are going up extremely high. And everybody is pointing the finger of blame and shame at him and Bibi. All the lying that he's been doing is not dissuading anyone from still blaming him. Because we all see that even their own troops, his own troops are complaining. You've had one person resign. You've had other experts, former military veterans, come out and say the same, that this was uncalled for. You've had someone that was right there, his own counterterrorism director, said that this was not a necessary war. You've had troops come out and allegedly say they don't even understand it, why they're there. What was the strategy? There seems to have been no plan. This is all stuff I told you all from day one. Okay, so it looks like everything's just going bad for Trump, and now he wants to bow out gracefully. But the sad thing is, he's going to have to figure this out. So now let's go to Morning Joe with MS Now, where Senator Schumer says Trump's tying himself into a triple knot. Okay, this is all just terrible, Trump. What have you gotten the world into with your stupid self? And his lack of common sense and critical thinking skills.
Longer here as the Easter holiday approaches and spring break. This is a point where you're seeing 3, 4, 5 hours at a time in some of our nation's airports.
I want to talk about SAVE, and Mike, I know you have
and I just want to say
questions.
This guy, this Trump, he is tying himself in a triple knot all at once. TSA and the airports, the SAVE Act, and the war, which is just going on and on and on and getting worse and worse and worse and causing Americans to pay $4 for gasoline. And you know what? He keeps tightening the knot around himself. Last night he did it twice when he said don't negotiate unless you do TSA, and when he sent the ICE to the airports, which is just going to cause can you believe how they did that? They first said we're going to send them and we'll announce the plan later.
Well,
just like the war.
We've been showing this all morning. Republicans that see this are shuddering, that have to run this fall. This is a nightmare for the Republican Party. It's the last thing they want to see. ICE is extremely unpopular. I mean, they were very popular a year and a half ago with the majority of Americans. They're very unpopular right now. This is a losing situation. They understand it. The other thing is the SAVE Act, Mike. Let me go to Mike, and Mike will ask you a question. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And the senator's written about the SAVE
Act. We need to share the potatoes with everybody. But on the SAVE Act, you even have John Fetterman, the Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, who has voted with Republicans an awful lot, saying, hey, guys, saying to his Republicans friends, hey, guys, everybody wants voter ID. We get it. 75, 80% of people want voter ID. But if you have a voter ID plan that disallows driver's licenses from 45 states because they're trying to make the re-registering before this fall so oppressive that millions and millions and millions of Americans will be wiped from voters' rolls. Even John Fetterman saying, that ain't going to work. You want a driver's license, cool, or a government-issued thing, cool, but this is far too oppressive. This is not about voter ID, Mike.
Let me ask you a question. Could you find your birth certificate?
No, I couldn't.
Could you find your birth
ridiculous.
certificate?
And it's required. This is, Trump said it. He said, this is the way I win. He knows he's getting killed.
It's
on
to
costs,
bag an election.
It's to bag, it's to cheat and steal the election in a different way than he did in 2021.
I'd like to ask you a larger question.
Can I say on this SAVE Act?
Sure.
You can't even use military ID. And here's what happens. Just a minute. I wrote an op-ed.
It's in the New York Times.
Can I show it?
It's a good one, Senator. It's a good one. Of course you can show it.
I hope people will read it.
This is your table.
I haven't seen it here.
How does it look? you want me to find it for you?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I
say.
didn't run it today.
What? No,
Well, it's on the. They don't run it in the paper till tomorrow, but I think, but it's on the.
Here, I'll
It's
pull
on
it
the
up.
website.
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up.
So in any case, here's what they do. They demand that every state send DHS. This has nothing to do with voting, Homeland Security. They send them their voter rolls. They have an algorithm set up by Musk and Doge that says who's knocked off the rolls. Okay? Over 20 million people will be knocked off the rolls. And these are 99.9% American citizens because, you know, they say it's to prevent illegal immigrants.
There you go.
They say it's to prevent illegal immigrants from voting, how they put it. Untrue. You know what? How many? The Heritage Foundation, this right-wing place, found, I think, only 62 in the last 10 years with 200 million people.
By the way, what's so ridiculous about this is the Wall Street Journal not only wrote an editorial this past week saying this is a solution for a problem that does not exist.
Yeah.
I remember reading a Wall Street Journal editorial a decade ago, a very conservative outlet, mind you, saying the same thing. Republicans are trying to create a solution for a problem that does not exist. The Wall Street Journal editorial page Republican also warns this may disproportionately hurt Republicans in the new political age that we're living in. Senator Katty Kay has a question for you. She, of course, does know where her original birth certificate is because they keep it in a locked safe at Hotel de Cap.
I know.
Where she has the easiest access to it. Katty.
Look, I mean, I still don't even have an American passport, so.
Okay, so now with that all being said, how many of you, once in the chats, how many of you know exactly where your birth certificate is? Once in the chat. How many of you know exactly where your birth certificate is? Let's see here. By a show of ones in the chat, who knows exactly where your birth certificate is? Everybody's putting ones for the most part because I'm sorry, but most Black people, in my opinion, know exactly where their birth certificates are. When I hear people saying, oh, I don't know where my birth certificate is, what? What do you mean? Now, I'm not saying that should be a requirement for you to vote because I don't think that's necessary. Okay, I think that's just doing too much. But the bottom line is all these people talking about, the people that don't look like us, saying they don't know where their birth certificates are. Have they never needed it for anything? Clearly not. Clearly not. So is it just us that is being required to show birth certificates for certain things? Because I've known where mine was my whole life. I've always known where mine was. Okay. Sorry. I find it all interesting. Are we the only ones that get asked for it? Okay, think about that, because how come anybody wouldn't know? Okay, so looks like everybody knows, pretty much. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip from Times of India. This came out about 4 hours ago, where they say Iranian attacks force U.S. to withdraw troops from an Arab nation. Trump is given 24 hours to pull out. Trump, why didn't you tell us that? Do y'all hear it? Trump's been given an ultimatum. He told them they had 48 hours or else he's going to have that power plant blown up. Now he's pulling back on that, talking about postponing it. Is this why? Because it says that Iran has given him 24 hours. A major development has emerged in the escalating conflict. You won't hear this on lamestream media. Okay, I assure you, this is from Times of India. Now they say that a major development has emerged in the escalating conflict as Islamic resistance in Iraq claims the United States and NATO has been given a 24-hour window to withdraw forces from the Victoria base complex in Baghdad. The temporary ceasefire reportedly follows intense drone and missile attacks on U.S.-linked installations in recent days, according to statements from Iraqi militia factions. Okay, the truce was mediated through the Iraqi government, which claims that Washington requested a pause to allow safe evacuation via Baghdad International Airport. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. This is all nefarious. It looks like Iraq is now entering the chat. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Soul Sister said, say what? 24 hours. That's what it says, beloveds. Okay, Pistol Lola said today is the day, baby.
First victory for Iran amid a raging war. U.S. surrenders before Iran and proxies. Attacks by pro-Iran militias bring U.S. to its knees. American and NATO get 24 hours for troops withdrawal. In a massive development, U.S. and NATO forces have been given a deadline to withdraw from the Victoria Base Complex in Iraq's capital city, Baghdad. After non-stop attacks, the Islamic resistance in Iraq, a coalition of Iran-backed Shiite militias, gave the U.S. and NATO a 24-hour ceasefire to withdraw their soldiers. The temporary truce was agreed following mediation through the Iraqi government, according to statements by factions operating under the Islamic resistance in Iraq. Iraqi armed groups said the request for a ceasefire came directly from the United States and NATO through Iraqi officials. In a statement by Abu Mahid al-Ja'afri, the military spokesperson for Aliyah al-Dam brigades, U.S. and NATO requested a 24-hour pause in attacks to allow forces to exit safely through Baghdad International Airport before moving toward Turkey. Several resistance factions agreed to the truce under strict conditions, demanding that no popular mobilization forces, PMFs, be targeted during the ceasefire, specifically along the Somalia.
Okay, I think we've heard enough. Okay, and then I fact-checked it. It says, as of March the 20th of 2026, NATO is redeploying personnel from Baghdad due to rising regional tensions, temporarily suspending its non-combat advisory mission in Iraq. So they're temporarily suspending it. The U.S. is also withdrawing its approximately 2,500 troops under a 2024 agreement with the Iraqi government. NATO has moved staff out of Baghdad to Europe following security threats in the Green Zone. U.S. troops previously focused on advising and training, and they're now withdrawing in coordination with Iraqi authorities as part of a commitment to end long-term foreign military engagement. Okay, so... well, Trump, I guess you know when the time is up. Okay, Cherry says, we know to keep our papers. Exactly, right? How do you not know where your birth certificate is? Now let's go to Professor Morandi and hear what he had to say. This is a clip of him being interviewed on yesterday. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put an overlay on this.
Professor, I just want to tell you that I'm Canadian. I don't know if you know much about me. Cyrus is American. There are a lot of people that are supporting Iran. And my audience as well has, over the last 6 months, expressed their concerns for what's going on in the United States with the Epstein class there. To me, I don't know how the Iranians can withstand this type of aerial bombardment, these threats from the US government that has said within, I think it's now within the next 36 hours, of course, publicly has admitted a war crime in print, saying that they are going to, once again, obliterate the entire electrical system in the country. How are Iranians going to deal with this?
Well, you know better than I that in your continent, they've done the same thing to the Cubans. And it's really amazing that even Trump's opponents, they're not outraged by these statements, as you pointed out, stating that he's going to commit crimes against humanity openly before carrying them out. And you don't see outrage from the Guardian or the New York Times, because left, right, liberal, mainstream left, conservative, it's all Epstein class control. The media is controlled by the oligarchy. and the same people who control the government. So the media, it doesn't matter. There may be infighting, but it's not because of the crimes being committed against other countries. It's because of their own, anger and hostility toward their own infighting. When Trump lost the Supreme Court ruling over tariffs, he was angry. He did I'm sure you recall a news conference, and he said, "I cannot impose $1 of tariffs, but I can destroy countries." And I think at that time he was alluding to Cuba, the fact that he can strangle the country, and no one was shocked. There were no media outlet was saying, this is crazy what he's saying. So the problem in the West is of course this Epstein class and the control they have and what they're doing to the world and to the West itself and to the United States too. Iran has no option but to resist, and they are steadfast. And I think that Iran, the fact that Iran has thousands of years of heritage, and in addition to that, its religious culture, I think, and the role that the grandson of the Prophet Hussein played in fighting the despot of his era in support of the oppressed, that is very deep in the collective psyche of Iranians. That story in Karbala and his sister Zainab. If you come to Iran on the anniversary of his martyrdom in Karbala, it will be it will be a different place than any other day. It's just unique that day, those 2 days when they celebrate his resistance. And so there's a strong sense of among Iranians of the need to oppose oppression and to support the oppressed. I have no doubt that Trump will fail, but it will come at a heavy price, not just for Iran, but for the world. If he pushes, I think we are heading for a global economic depression, worse than 1929. And who knows? I mean, I think it's beyond anyone's imagination what that means. Tens, maybe hundreds of people, millions of people would be on the move across the world. I mean, it's, the population today on this planet is, much, much greater than what it was 100 years ago. It's just, the situation is terrible, but we all have to remain optimistic, and we all have to do what we can do to stop things from getting worse. And hopefully there's light. I'm sure there's light at the end of the tunnel at some point, despite the darkness that we face today.
Okay. Now, you see how this man speaks with such confidence and such honesty, unlike the braggadocious Trump, okay, bragging and doing nothing but lying in the meantime. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, and like they said, admitting to a whole war crime. During a battle, you're not supposed to attack their power plants to try to put them in darkness so you can cheat and win. Okay, that's all Trump is about, because he knows he can't win fair and square. Okay, but now let's go to this next clip of a guy doing a video. He did a video basically talking about Jared Kushner and his father, Charles Kushner, saying basically the same thing that I've always told you all about their relationship with Satan-yahu and how Satan-yahu's come to their house. But he says something at the end that I thought was interesting. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
The Jared Kushner situation just got much worse. Okay, I want to show you guys a video that's trending about the former governor of New Jersey speaking out against the Kushner family. This is the same man that prosecuted Jared Kushner's father on federal crimes. And I'm quoting this. He said that the family was reprehensible and that Jared is a spitting image of his father. Okay, I want to show you guys this video. Plus, I want to show you guys a rare MSNBC airing about the Kushner family and their close ties to Netanyahu, in which years ago, Netanyahu stayed the night at their house and even slept in Jared's room. Okay, this is crazy, and it's just exposing the fact that these people knew each other for a long time, and all of the things that we are seeing is not by coincidence. It was planned. Okay, let's hop into this video, watch this, and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's hop in.
I'm maybe the only person in America who
put his dad in jail.
Well, I'm definitely the only person in America who put his dad in jail.
Yeah,
and one of the only people in America who have any title or position who were willing to tell the truth about them.
What is the truth about them?
Reprehensible people. All amoral. Look, I don't know his brother, but I know the father, the mother, and Jared. And
Jared too. Why is how is Jared reprehensible? I don't know.
He is the father with a softer voice.
Yeah,
he's the same. There's no difference between he and his dad.
And people who don't know
that. He would admit that.
But people who don't know who's his father. I mean,
the ambassador to France.
Yeah, but tell us who he is as a person.
Well, his father was at the time when I prosecuted him in 2004, the second richest man in New Jersey. Only David Tepper was richer in New Jersey than Charlie Kushner.
Mm-hmm.
And we were investigating him for tax fraud and for FEC fraud. And by FEC fraud, Federal Election Commission donation fraud, what he was doing was as most real estate guys do, they have a multitude of partnerships. They don't have one company. They maybe have 100 that own each individual piece of property. He would write checks from each one of those properties at large numbers, even though he had other partners in those properties, the other partners being his brother and his sister. And he would forge their names onto attributions for those donations so he could make larger donations and make himself more important with the political people he's donating to. That's against the law. And so we called the sister in to the grand jury to ask her whether she had ever made any of these donations, which she had not. Well, when he found out that his sister willingly went into the grand jury, what he did was he hired a prostitute to seduce his sister's husband, videotaped it, and then on the day of his sister's son's engagement party, an engagement party that he was going to attend, he had the videotape delivered to his sister's house so she could see her husband with someone else.
I mean,
and he did so anonymously.
We've all been there. You thought the crumb cake was bad. Jeez.
Right,
it just so happens that the father is now the U.S. ambassador of France. Okay, and that Trump pardoned the father and pretty much made him the U.S. ambassador of France. Okay, you would ask, like, how did all of the, like, at what point does nepotism play a role? So knowing now that Jared Kushner is now one of Trump's advisors, and he leads a lot of the foreign policies and foreign affairs involving the country, right? He made the Abrahamic Accords. Right now, he's heavily involved.
Okay, I find that all so interesting, don't you? Okay, that is no shock because as I've been telling you all, that's exactly what I believe Bibi has been doing, and that's definitely what Lumumba Amin has accused Bibi of doing to these Western politicians. Okay, now let's go to this next clip, and then we're going to go, let me see what this is. No, we don't need to talk about this because we've already discussed it, but let's go to what iHip News says about Bibi's comments, the ones that I told you all about yesterday of him disrespecting Jesus even. And then after this, we're going to go to what Julius Malema had to say because he went in on Trump. Okay, and y'all know I love me some Julius Malema from South Africa. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
The most despicable person on the planet did a press conference yesterday. And of course, I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, where he casually drops that, oh yeah, there's going to have to be a ground component, that we're going to have to send U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. Yet again, here we are. He also reveals that the whole purpose of this for him is to get an oil pipeway straight into Israel. It's not even about any of the shit that they tell us it's about. But this guy is so bizarre and he's so into this cult. And let's not kid ourselves, the way the people that support this fascist right-wing Israeli government, they behave as a cult. If you criticize them, they freak out. You can't criticize us. You can't criticize our government. Yet we're a democracy. It's just complete hypocrisy. But this statement right here was wild. Put up the post first, Kylie. Owen Schroyer says, in this short clip, Netanyahu says he insults Christians and Jesus Christ. He asserts there's no purpose in being a good person, says we have no choice but to fight Israel's wars, and then subtly threatens us if we don't. Play the clip.
Well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while they're.
He said reassert their will to defend themselves and oppose their enemies. First of all, how is the U.S. defending themselves when they started this? They were the aggressors, Bibi, and so were you. So the U.S. and Bibi's people are not defending themselves. They're the aggressors. The only ones defending themselves is Iran. But let's continue.
Still time before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late.
First and foremost, the popularity of Israel, I think among Democratic voters, is like below 20%. This war is wildly unpopular, but more than anything, this type of fear-mongering propaganda, especially from a foreign leader, as though he's lecturing the American people about good versus evil, criticizing its majority Christian state, criticizing the Lord and personal savior of all of these Christian Zionists. This is just weird shit on top of weird shit. But more than anything, I think it's important to keep stating the number one killer of children in the world right now is this man's regime.
Well, and also I think that for me, it shows Benjamin Netanyahu is calling the shots on what Donald Trump does. You know, you've heard over and over how he brought him into the war, all the different reasons, whatever. But then he bombs this site. 17% of the oil in the world is that. Iran bombs it. Now we don't have it. Retaliation by Israel. Donald Trump says, Israel's not going to do this again. And my first thought was, you're not in charge, buddy. Benjamin Netanyahu is in charge, and his statements in that, he can say whatever the fuck he wants to the American people because he knows that he gets to tell the.
Exactly. He's been, saying pretty much whatever he wants going unchecked. Okay, but he can't check me because he doesn't tell me what the hell to do. How about y'all? Okay, Pookie said, I guess he felt it in his bones. Good one, beloved. Because, yes, isn't that what Trump said when they asked his stupid self when they would call off the war, when it would come to an end? He said when he feels it in his bones. Okay, he should have said when he feels it in his bone spurs. Okay, please pay attention. It's the low down self. I find it all so interesting. Let me make sure that's the last clip that I wanted to show. Hold on. What's this one right here? Okay, so anyway, let's go to, I believe this is the last clip and then we're out of here, but let's go to this clip of Julius Malema dragging Trump, and I was all here for it. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
ke dina le banna bo Donald Trump ka Oval Office wena o busy ka Twitter o bolela nonsense re ka officing ya EFF ya Tembisa o ka tsule re boletse ka wena ka re a o selo o ta go se selo because you talk about things you know nothing about. Fighters, President of Venezuela is still kidnapped in America by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a criminal who went to abduct the president of Venezuela because he wanted to steal the oil of Venezuela. Today, children and women are being killed in Palestine. Today, he started a war in Iran, and Iran is shashering him. He doesn't know how to get out of that war. He started without a plan. We are with Iran. We are Iran. We stand with Iran. We don't stand with imperialism. We don't stand with America. We stand with the oppressed. We say to the people of Cuba, Hang in there. America made you suffer for 67 years. You won't surrender now. Don't succumb to imperialism. Stand up to imperialism. Fidel Castro told us to stand up to America and not be again, be afraid of America. Comrades, this continent shall be one. And when it becomes one, it shall become a powerhouse in the international politics because they are leading us, because we are divided. Once we unite and we become one, America will be defeated. We say to Iran, don't stop until America pays your reparations into your account. Hit and hit hard. Make sure you destroy these evil forces that have cost us life in the history of humanity. Batamaya, Batunya, Bamaskolu, Sabana. How can you kill children and want us to be with you when you are killing children? We will never stand with anyone who kills children. Fighters, we are going back to our branches. I was very happy when it was drizzling. You did not run away. It is because you are confirming that there is no rain in the revolution. There is a revolution in the rain. So when we go to register the youth of South Africa, to register the people of South Africa, including those who are discouraged from voting, we are going to say to them, do not be discouraged. The future of South Africa is here. You must make sure that when we live here, we enter every school, every TVET, every university, every home. We are going to register.
All right, so you all heard that, okay? Shout out to Julius Malema. He went in on Trump as per usual, and it was not one lie detected, okay? They stand with the oppressed. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about these polls on Trump, and then we're out of here. Because 5 new polls have suggested that President Donald J. Trump's approval rating is falling, okay, according to records. Okay, but is anyone surprised? Okay? Even some of his MAGA minions seem to be waking up slowly but surely. All right, let's get into it. Then we're out of here. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Here we go.
But your energy isn't. Let us do the work.
Last year, this year, 38%.
Hold on. Not sure what happened there, beloveds. Hold on just a second. Let me pull that back up. Okay, so I'll just read it. Goes on to say that as America's conflict with Iran in the Middle East continues, the concerns about the U.S. economy are growing nationwide. White House spokesperson Davis Engel told Newsweek that the ultimate poll was November the 5th of 2024, when nearly 80 million Americans overwhelmingly elected President Trump to deliver on his popular and common sense agenda. There was nothing common sense about it. Now, the president has already made historic progress, not only in America, but around the world. It is not surprising that President Trump remains the most dominant figure in American politics. This man's clearly crazy. Now, mind you, that's coming from the White House spokesperson. America's growing concerns about the economy are emerging as a key political pressure point in the ongoing conflict with Iran. Polls have previously indicated that voters are also becoming increasingly frustrated with the Trump administration's actions regarding immigration, foreign policy, as well as the economy. One of the 5 new polls with a CBS News and YouGov survey conducted between March 17th through the 20th, in total 3,335 U.S. adults participated, and the outcome revealed that 60% said they disapprove of the way Trump is handling his job as president. This marked a net percentage point drop in approval of 20, according to Real Clear polling. Some 49% of participants also said they strongly disapprove of Trump's actions as president, while 24% said they strongly approve. Okay, and that is probably the people that are illiterate, okay, and who can't think very well. Now, for the economy, inflation, and immigration, more participants disapproved than approved the way Trump is handling those policy areas. Disapproval of how he was handling the situation in Iran was as high as 62%, while 32% believed the U.S. economy would be in recession next year. Of those polled, 52% felt Trump's policies were making them financially worse off. Now, the survey had a margin of error of plus or minus about 2%. And so, with that all being said, it's not looking good. Okay, he's down in the polls. He's down for the count. He's down and out. Okay, and he's quite frankly losing this war, as we all should have known. Okay, so, I mean, how do you win a battle for some people that just keep coming and who don't fear anything, not even death? How do you compete against that? Okay, how do you stop that? These people are relentless. Let's not forget those 180 people that died on that first day, and most of them being children that belong to the same soldiers fighting in this battle. And you've taken out many of their leaders, okay, so including the supreme leader. So with that having been said, yeah, these people are absolutely relentless, and they're going to keep coming. All right, despite all the threats and the scare tactics, none of it's working because these people know what they have planned methodically for the last 20 years. And people that plan and strategically put things in order for 20 whole years, going against a person or people who didn't even have a plan at all, who didn't carefully think out what they were going to do, don't even have an end game, there's no way you could possibly win, period. Okay? Now, with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I will see you all later this evening, probably around 7:30 or 8. So until then, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Till next time, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got